never feel the way I feel. You don't know if my love is real. Baby, listen to me, here's the deal. When you're not here, I'm not the same. I'm needing a new chapter, babe. Been stuck here in a bed for days. I've been staring at the telephone, cause when you're gone, I miss your face. 8 o'clock by
sort of integrate with our own engineers and scientists and doctors that's already on the ground every year. What if we could do what Israel does in building a nation by utilizing its diaspora and the technology and the wealth that diaspora brings with it? Well, no one wants to see that. So you keep people living in fear and terror and disruption and psychosocial and cultural dislocation from one another. And you can rule over that. We just lost President of Chad. And I was reading up on the history of Chad, the most recent, because I've always been up on Chad. I have a special relationship with Chad. And when the oil was discovered in Chad, and they discovered it a long time ago, but when they decided to explore it and build a pipeline to Cameroon, the World Bank stepped in and said, okay, we'll put up the money to have you do this, but all the revenue that you get from your oil must be placed in Citibank in London. Wait a minute. Why can't the revenue from the oil of Chad be placed in a bank in Chad? And then the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank decide that you're going to have to, we will tell you what the money will be used for. And then we're only going to give you 12% of your oil revenues. That's what's going on in America. You can't separate what is going on with us in America from what is going on in Chad. We saw Magufuli in Tanzania and what he had to do. And we saw us lose him. And we saw in Zimbabwe with our great president and what he had to do. And they even convinced us to put sanction on the one man that was showing us how to come out from under European economic, political, and cultural dominance. Well, in America, the killing of black man is about maintaining dominance over an African population that makes it about the 5th largest African nation in the world, and one of the wealthiest in the world, and one of the most technically trained in the world. But if you keep it disrupted, living in terror, living in fear, disunited through these murders and corrupt education system that do not train you to do anything except go in the penitentiary or the prison, then you can control them despite all of that wealth and education that they have. And that's what they've been doing. We spend more time fighting over 1 or 2 people getting killed in the streets almost every week than we fight over building an institution that will keep them from being killed in the street every week. So what do? And what we have to do is realize that the killings of black men in America and the killing of black women in America is tied to Western dominance of Africa, period. If you make the separation, you've lost the game. If you understand the relationship, you're on your way to victory because you know what the problem is, and you now can move towards solving that problem. Terrorism, for the sake of population control, is nothing new. And once you put a young man in prison at 18 or 15 or 14, unless he's got a good, strong family or community, his life is destroyed forever. Do that with 500,000 people a year, and in 10 years, how many millions of the African male youth you've destroyed? And then blame them for their own destruction because now they're on drugs they're homeless, and they're back and forth into prison. And you say, oh, look, that's who they are. And the world being afraid not to identify with the white supremacist cultural dominance of the world. So, oh yeah, that's those are the black Americans. Look at their pants, they're sagging. Well, there's 60 to 70 million of us that don't have sagging pants. We have high school degrees and college degrees and businesses and all kinds of other things, and law degrees and medical degrees and everything that everybody else in the world has. Do you look at me? I'm a professor, retired, wife is a medical doctor, a son that's a high school principal, one that's a medical administration at one of the biggest hospitals in the city, another daughter that's an administrator and educator in Brooklyn, another that owns her own record company, another that owns her own catering business, and another that's the chief guidance counselor. Is that the black family they show you on TV? And I'm not an oddity. I'm less than average. But you miss all of that because they kill us no matter what degree we have, no matter what job you have, no matter how much you know, because we're talking about state terrorists. This is not a racist individual. These killings are tolerated by the state. The state has done nothing to abate it. And until we had the conviction of Chauvin the other day, we've only had maybe 8 to 10 conviction for people who have killed more than 400 people, and you had 8 to 10 convictions. That's an insult to humanity. And what goes on in the United States of America is a violation of the United Nations Charter of Human Rights in multiple ways. They violate our African culture by not allowing us to teach it in our schools and practice it in the way we wish to do it. They violate our lives by having law enforcement take so many of our lives every year and no justice come back to our community. There's multiple other ways that our human rights is being violated. But one of the sad things is not a single African nation has stood before a podium in the United Nations and say, you are committing a crime against humanity against my people. The way Israel would say it, the way India would say it, the way China would say it, wherever their people are. If you want to get to the bottom of why they would kill us and not be afraid of anybody, we have no sanctuary. We have no protection. We have no protectors except ourselves, and we're in their house. We have done well. Let nobody make no bones about it. We've been fighting these people for 400 years, unabated. Unabated. Study our history. There's a thread that runs from the 1600s to present, where some of us was resisting and rebelling to our death. But this is true about Africans everywhere. They didn't come and take our continent easily. They never really took our whole continent anyway. They took little pieces on the shore where they could ship things out and control the waterways. They never conquered Africa. They conquered our mind. Mm-hmm. They conquered our minds with their education and their culture and their value system and their religions. Throw those things off, and we'll know how to get our Africa back and make out of it the Africa we want to see.
All right, little bugs, that wraps it up for this 3-part series that I did on Professor Small. Now, if you do want to see the rest of the video, please go to Pan America website on YouTube, or website actually, to see the full length of the video. But I did notice that he had did another video with someone else. So just put his name in the search engine and he'll come up. So guys, what did you think about the video? Riveting, right? Oh my God. What can I say? There's not much to say, but that I agree with everything that Professor Smalls had to say. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, please do hit the like and subscribe. And don't forget to comment. Alright, so we want to give another shout out to some special people that have comments That's Dan Shelton, Tyler Durden, and Elaine Nielsen. Thank you guys all for your lovely comments. You are so appreciated. So, alright, guys, that wraps it up. Until next time, and there will be a next time, take care of yourself out here in these streets. Bye.
Give me the good this time, no cap, no lies, it's our own court. I never wanna give you up. I know we've been through way too much, but I'm confident we'll make it through. I'm here for